Okay, thank you. Well, good afternoon and welcome to the Future of Real Estate. I'm Daryl Baskin of the Baskin Real Estate Specialists at eXp Realty. Excellent show today. Reading Partners is our community spotlight, and we have Justin Harlan with us. Later in the program, I've got some insurance conflicts that came up with a recent story about who actually gets to do the work on your house. Mike Goodman with Goodman and Associates is with us. I've had some roof leaks. What else? What other stories am I going to tell? I don't know. I'll come up with a few. Got some featured properties, including some new construction in Owasso you'll want to hear about. But first, let's talk to Justin Harlan about Reading Partners. I guess Reading Partners is what it sounds like.
Yeah, pretty right on spot there. Yeah.
So, I think as I am with many of our community spotlight things, you hear it and oh, that makes me feel so good and it's lovely, and then you tune on and you go to something else.
Sure.
But really getting the impact of what organizations are doing is difficult to convey in this little interview.
Sure, yeah, totally agree.
So let's talk about not just some of these things, which I've got bullet points that you've given me, by the way. Only 20% of Tulsa Public Schools third graders read at or above proficient levels.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's a number. We've heard numbers like that. Great, okay,
right.
Where's my coffee?
Yeah.
But what does this mean to us societally? I mean, I look at housing, I've had low-income housing.
Yeah.
And I've seen the struggles that families have and what this means to another generation, not just today. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, children growing up in poverty face all sorts of challenges. Research shows that students who are not on grade level in reading at the end of third grade are 4 times less likely to walk across the stage at the end of high school with a diploma. So really at the early age of 8 or 9, we can kind of see a child's opportunities because teachers really stop teaching kids how to read, and you have to know how to read in order to keep up with what the teacher is continuing to teach you. So it's really those early ages, that early grades that matter so much, which is why we're focusing on those ages of 5 to 8.
So expounding on that,
Mm-hmm.
they don't walk across the stage. They don't have a high school education. They're limited in their employment. They're limited in what they can be. If you're a business owner, they're limited in how much money they can spend at your business.
Right.
It may involve a bad turn in life of I'm not getting my needs met, so I'm getting into some sort of criminal activity.
Right.
I mean, this is all, you just go all across the spectrum of how important this, kindergarten through third grade is where Reading Partners focuses.
Exactly, yeah, and we are a community-driven program, so we know that this is such a huge problem. Teachers have such an incredibly hard job. Principals, are busting their butts every day. We know that what we need is additional supports and resources for those children that need it most, and so the way that Reading Partners works is we bring in community volunteers that commit at least 1 hour a week. We pair them up with a child that needs their supports, and they work with them for 1 hour a week using a research-based curriculum that we provide to help that child gain a foundational reading skills that they need.
So this isn't here's a kid, find a book and read.
Exactly. No, it's very structured. All the way down to the words that you say are blue, and the words that signify something that you do is black. I mean, really, with just an hour of training, anybody can come in and help somebody gain the foundational skills that they need to be successful.
Now, this is the kind of like the mental breakthrough for me, because I was not really understanding how easy it could be, because I wouldn't feel like I know how to connect with a child on their level. I mean, I don't remember third grade.
Yeah.
And So, what you say, an hour
Yeah.
is all it really takes to learn what you need to do?
Yeah, I mean the curriculum is so structured. So basically, in that hour of training, what we do is just kind of set precedent for what you are going to expect when you show up in a reading center. And then when you show up at that reading center, there's a curriculum that's really easy for you to use with any child. And then there's also on the ground support, so somebody that's there and helping you and coaching you. So it's definitely not just a mentorship program that's spending time and do what you want for an hour. We're going to really structure that hour around what we know is working.
Well, what's the significance of the number 28? Because there's in my notes here 28 reading centers in
Right.
Tulsa only.
Right. Yeah. Just in Tulsa, we're in 28 different reading centers across the city, east, west, north, south. We are in mostly Tulsa public schools, elementary schools, but we're also in 2 charter schools.
What times do these take place? Is it during school hours, after hours?
It's all during school. So yeah, we're pulling children out of, not grade level content. We're pulling them out and allowing them to get the additional support that we know they need. So all during the school day. There's typically 6 sessions during a school day. So from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. is typically when the curriculum is being instructed.
Now, remind me, how long are you reading? If you're a volunteer, how long are you reading with these kids?
So we like to say that it's about an hour commitment all in all. So, when I go and read, usually
Per
it's
week?
Yeah, per
Okay.
week. So usually it's about a 10-minute drive. I get there, look over the curriculum for a bit, make sure that I'm ready for the lesson. And then with the child, you're spending about 45 minutes and then taking them back to class and heading back to work or wherever you
That makes it sound really easy, because now I'm not dealing with, I have to spend 3 hours preparing for something the next day.
Oh, yeah.
This is...
Right, and like you and I, Daryl, could share a child where maybe I come on Tuesdays and I'm going to write you notes on what that child did with me during the lesson, and then when you show up on Thursdays, you're working with the same child and you're reading my notes to start your lesson. So we might not ever meet each other, but we're helping impact that same child's life.
So what's the socioeconomic spectrum?
Yeah, every school that we're in is primarily kids that are on free or reduced lunch, so high poverty schools. We know that kids growing up in poverty are facing so many additional challenges, and that's really where these types of supports and interventions are needed most.
Well, as I've understood and seen and personally watched my own families in some of my lower income housing struggle through what happens when you have a fatherless home.
Yeah.
It's really beyond what I think most people can even comprehend. And so I've got one of my kids is struggling with reading, and we've got a pretty balanced home, and I've got time to carve out and spend a little bit. She's still struggling with reading.
Yeah.
And how that will impact her moving forward is one thing. You take a kid who comes home looking for that pad of approval and the connection that then creates some interest.
Right.
When I belong, where I belong. And you give them that when the other alternative is, hey, I can find some approval from some kids out here. Some of the older kids are up to no good down at the corner.
Yeah.
That's what our kids are facing. So to me, and this isn't you talking, I'm saying this about how important Reading Partners is from my perspective. To me, I see this as so much more than just the act of reading, but truly 180 degrees difference in where a kid can go.
Totally, yeah. And we know that every child has so much potential, right? And those that are growing up in poverty often come from broken homes or single parent homes. So it's the extra resources like this and community members that are kind of wrapping their arms around them that really could open up opportunities that a child wouldn't know otherwise, because of all those additional challenges that families might be facing. But we know that every child or every parent cares about their child, right? Like we all want what's best for our kids, and what might be easier for you and me might not be as easy.
But can you do that if you're at work all day?
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
What are you facing?
Right.
So let's see. I had a note here: books, brews, and
barbecue.
Barbecue.
Yeah. We have an event coming up on September 12th. It's $45 for a ticket. You get a dinner from Rib Crib, Tulsa's original barbecue since 1992.
Yeah.
Full dinner
Proud
from
to have
Rib
them
Crib.
here.
We have Cabin Boys Brewery. You get 2 beers. And then there's a trivia competition, prizes for trivia. It's at Cabin Boys Brewery, September 12th. I think the doors open at 6. Trivia starts at 7. Trying to make the tickets affordable. All of that will go to support.
How much are they again?
$45.
Oh, that's
Yeah, so it all goes towards building our at-home libraries for children. Because at the end of every lesson, to build that at-home literacy, we're sending books home with every kid. So we give away over 10,000 books every year, and this will go towards building those libraries out.
Think about that, how special it is when you're a kid and you get a book. It's my book. It's
Yep.
mine. It's
Yeah.
my book. I have that book. There's something about that.
Definitely, yeah.
Now, number of kids here. I have to go back to this before we close.
Sure.
1,700 students. You're serving 1,700 students by recruiting. This is what I like this number.
Yeah.
Often we're thinking in terms of, oh, okay, we're going to serve 100,000 kids, and we're doing it with a low number of volunteers. You actually have 2,000 volunteers serving 1,700 students.
Right.
And that epitomizes what I'm hearing is your whole mission of one-on-one, more than one-on-one, really connecting with kids to help
Right.
them see the value and the encouragement from learning to read.
Definitely, yeah. And we try to get every child 2 sessions per week. And so most adults are giving us 1.3 on average is kind of what it all comes out to. But we know that it will take a couple of adults to impact one child. And so really any adult that can commit to this, we'll take you and get you trained and get you plugged into schools. We start tutoring on September 16th. And it's 1 hour a week. We'll get you trained in about an hour, and you can sign up at readingpartners.org.
Really cool. And don't forget about booksbrewsandbarbecue.com. $45, that's a great way to have a good evening and support something that's really special. Readingpartners.org.
Yep.
Justin, thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me, Daryl.
You've been listening to The Future of Real Estate, Tulsa's source for local real estate news and information. Today's program brought to you by TTCU, Federal Credit Union, Integrity Title and Abstract, Window World of Tulsa, Goodman Construction, and the Baskin Real Estate Specialists. We're coming back to tell you some really good information about what happens when you have an insurance claim and who you get to choose before you have that repair done. Stay tuned.
All right.
Very nice.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Appreciate the time. Can we get a picture real quick?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love
Value
that.
matter most. Choose Window World.
Mike,
Superior
can you take a
service,
picture of us?
American-made products,
Or do you want to take a...
and
Well, you
industry-leading
stay here on
warranties
your...
make us the #1 choice for your next home remodel. J.D. Power ranked Window World highest in customer satisfaction with window and patio door retailers. Be proud of your home and take care of it with a brand you can trust. Window World, America's exterior remodeler.
She designed the dress, but can she budget for her future?
I'm not ready yet, but I want to be.
Help her get 100% ready.
I live in a 100-year-old home. It's a home I fell in love with, and it has so many amazing features. But the one thing it does not have is straight windows. It has windows that are cracked and broken and worn out. I contacted Window World. They came in and put these brand new, amazing, incredibly beautiful windows into my home. From the outside of the house, they match the exterior perfectly. It looks like they've always been here. Now the windows are the jewels in the home. Window World, from the beginning to the end, they met and exceeded every expectation I had. Window World really is simply the best for less.
So, are you wanting to run this integrity segment at the bottom of the hour or something? The one that you sent me.
Let's do it now. Can you do it now? Can you hear this? I just wrote this today. I hope they like it.
I think it's a great topic.
Okay, good.
'Cause we see it all the time in windows.
Yeah.
You know, Anderson, the only way they can knock $800 a window off is because they raised it $800 a window.
I know. Yeah. I understand specials, obviously.
Yeah.
But, getting, I don't know. People buy they buy houses because they can get a certain amount off the price. Like, okay, well, that's not really the deal. The deal is it worth what you're paying?
Right.
Oh, that's what I needed. Here, go ahead, run media again. Go to media 1 and just run that again. Next.
When quality and value matter most, choose Window World. Superior service, American-made products, and industry-leading warranties make us the #1 choice for your next home remodel. J.D. Power ranked Window World highest in customer satisfaction with window and patio door retailers. Be proud of your home and take care of it with a brand you can trust. Window World, America's exterior remodeler.
She designed the dress, but can she budget for her future?
I'm not ready yet, but I want to be.
Help her get 100% ready.
I live in a 100-year-old home. It's a home I fell in love with, and it has so many amazing features. But the one thing it does not have is straight windows. It has windows that are cracked and broken and worn out. I contacted Window World. They came in and put these brand new, amazing, incredibly beautiful windows into my home. From the outside of the house, they match the exterior perfectly. It looks like they've always been here. Now the windows are the jewels in the home. Window World, from the beginning to the end, they met and exceeded every expectation I had. Window World really is simply the best for less.
I never did send those to you. I forgot to send them to you, but
What?
have you ever seen a hot water tank do this?
Oh, no.
I haven't seen. That's why they opened the closet and see the top of the.
Hold on just a second.
That's all right, man.
I'm trying to locate something. I'm pretty upset that one of my agents didn't.
Open houses.
Okay.
That's why they opened the closet, because all the smoke at the top of the door. But I've never seen a hot water tank catch fire.
That is so scary. I've
Oh,
seen
yeah.
them. I've seen them blow up, and the whole
I-
the garage door was gone.
The scary part is it burnt the control that stops the gas flow. It burnt that control, so it was just allowing gas to continue to spew once the fire extinguished itself. That's what alerted obviously the water as well. It ended up bursting something, and pretty.
Yeah, that's scary, and could have been while you're all there.
Oh yeah.
That most lenders are going to ask for those items to be repaired. And as a for sale by owner, like I said, you just may not think that's a big deal, and
Go ahead and
you
cue
know,
him up a
may
little bit.
may discount those items and not address them. And then
Yeah.
when your person does
Now, once you've
go
done that, you know you
to
just hit the
financing,
space
they're
bar,
gonna have issues. So
right?
that's slowing the process up. But if you guys as realtors can address that up front, they can be made aware of those and fix them sooner rather than later.
Well, and they do go both ways. Some of those are just cosmetic and aren't important. Some of them that you wouldn't think are important, and you don't want to spend money on things that are not going to come back to you. And of course, you don't want to have somebody micromanaging you.
Got a little over a minute.
Property prepared to go on the market in the first
And then you're gonna have about a minute and a half, 2 minutes to yourself.
Every circumstance is an individual
All right.
circumstance.
We're not going straight to break?
It's not gonna be enough time.
And needs. The property is different.
To go straight to break?
Age,
Correct.
different size, different price, and so
Can you say something for about a minute and a half?
Absolutely.
I figured you could.
Good advice. And by the way, the people to walk you through that, the negotiation process isn't just a commission. It's not just the listing price. It is all the way through to the closing.
Thank you,
table
everyone.
from The closing company. And Callie, thanks for speaking up on behalf of Integrity Title and Abstract. Your telephone number and web address.
Okay, our telephone number is 918-749-9130. You can find us online at integritytitleandclosing.com. We would love to help out any way that we can.
We're getting close.
You know, if you just have questions and need some answers, we will
I can feel
be
it.
glad to help you out in that respect as well.
Well, you got my endorsement.
Might need to get a shot for that.
I'm Daryl Baskin. You're listening to The Future of Real Estate.
Well, want to address thousands of homes? HomeGuideTulsa.com. I want to tell you about 14927 East 82nd Street in a neighborhood called Homestead. What do you think of when you think of Homestead? Do you think of large estate lots? Does that draw
Absolutely.
that picture?
Just a beautiful countryside, trees. You think of a nice lot.
That's what this has. And it's brand new construction from Colt Systems. The price is $394,000. On the first level, there are 3 bedrooms, 2 full bathrooms. So, you know, people who are looking for a larger home that doesn't have a lot of stairs to navigate or negotiate, then this would be ideal, because upstairs you have a game room and media room set up with bathroom and bedroom. But there's the real beauty of it is so much is on the first level, and that's such an important thing when it comes to resale. 3-car garage, nice contemporary open styling, and brand new in Homestead, open this weekend. And this is in Owasso. If you're wondering where Homestead is, Owasso, an area that's really on fire, and people like large lots in Owasso, really known for that. $394,000. Address again, 14927 East 82nd Street. One address, thousands of homes, HomeGuideTulsa.com. Well, you're listening to The Future of Real Estate, Tulsa's source for local real estate news and information. Today's program brought to you by TTCU Federal Credit Union, Integrity Title and Abstract, Window World of Tulsa, Goodman Construction, and the Baskin Real Estate Specialists at eXp Realty. We're going to take a break. We'll come back on the other side with some important information that you need to know before you need to know it now, before you end up in a situation like this person who had a hot water tank on fire. Never seen that before. We'll tell you about it. Mike Goodman with Goodman Construction after this. You take any one of the medias. You can just cycle through.
I want to be an interpreter for sign language.
Maybe try to be a lawyer.
I would like to run a little cafe.
Junior Achievement gives young people the skills they need to own their economic success, plan for their future, and make smart academic choices. Our volunteers help students with financial literacy, work readiness, and entrepreneurship.
And it's really helping me understand how it's going to be in the future.
I live in a 100-year-old home. It's a home I fell in love with, and it has so many amazing features. But the one thing it does not have is straight windows. It has windows that are cracked and broken and worn out. I contacted Window World. They came in and put these brand new, amazing, incredibly beautiful windows into my home. From the outside of the house, they match the exterior perfectly. It looks like they've always been here. Now the windows are the jewels in the home. Window World, from the beginning to the end, they met and exceeded every expectation I had. Window World really is simply the best for less.
When quality and value matter most, choose Window World. Superior service, American-made products, and industry-leading warranties make us the #1 choice for your next home remodel. J.D. Power ranked Window World highest in customer satisfaction with window and patio door retailers. Be proud of your home and take care of it with a brand you can trust. Window World, America's exterior remodeler.
So we get a contract on your home, and now we've got to talk about those things that are staying with the house. The time to really talk about it, though, is now, before we have a contract. So things that are expected to stay will be kind of in the fine print. It's really not that fine. It's a section in the contract. Now, I've included a link to it so that you can see it and review it. But there's some other items that are by default expected, and those things would be considered attached to the house. So if they're not listed in the section that I've included for you, that link, then maybe you need to remove them or replace them. Let me give you an example. Your great-grandmother's Tiffany lamp that you had installed. Well, if some buyer comes in and just falls in love with it, that's something that you're going to find very hard to replace. Talking yesterday, I've got another story to add about the spot on my ceiling.
So I work 24 hours. We don't take holidays.
Well, this other that was not really a big deal. I call Mike and Mike's roofing company. I said, I've got this little job that nobody ever wants to take care of a little job,
That seems to be popular.
And it was actually fixing another roofer's job from, 10 years ago. I don't know how long my vent hood from my stove has been clogged, but I go up in the attic and there's this piece of ducting that was just laying on the side. I didn't think much of it. It was out of place. I just thought it was left over from some project a long time ago. And I found out that the reason my vent hood wasn't venting properly was it was shoved full of roofing debris. And I don't mean like, oh, a few things fell in there. It looked like they stuffed it with debris.
I'm guessing the crew redecked your home. It probably had wood shake shingles.
Yes.
They tore them off. They knocked the vent down into the attic, and they didn't take the time to put it back.
They didn't put it back, although there was a nice little hole where it was ready to go, but your crew had to come over, cut the hole, put it back in. They were so kind to just get it done. They said, hey man, we were here to do some of this other stuff, but if, we just need a box vent. And I said, listen, I'm going to go to Lowe's right now and buy that box vent. Can you put it in? They waited for me. They came over and took care of it.
That's the beauty of having a person that has actually worked with me for 16 years, over 16 years, and that's rare in these days in construction world.
Well, it is, and he did a great job, and I wanted to tell you that. Also pointed out some other stuff that I needed to know. But I walked in after he left. Now, this is my on-air service call. I need a return service call. I walk in, and I say, hey, Greer, who's right here running the Facebook feed, by the way. Check our Facebook page, the Baskin Real Estate Specialist. You can see what's happening behind the scenes here. I said, hey, Greer, you're going to be ready to go here in a little bit. I looked up, and there are these two giant, like 1 foot in diameter, brown spots on his ceiling. And he's just playing PS, all happy as can be. I said, hey, buddy, how long have those been there? He's laughing now. He knows what happened. Oh, about a week. And I said, and you didn't think to tell me that? So we had a lesson in home maintenance.
Absolutely.
So at 12, you're not thinking about that kind of stuff. But homeowners often aren't thinking about that kind of stuff either, because they go to work, they come home, they're taking the kids to school, fixing dinner, whatever it is. But if I hadn't walked into each room of my house on a regular basis, and here a week ago I hadn't seen it for a week, then those leaks and those things can go on for a long time. So it's really important that you, especially if you have a 2-story and you're an empty nester and the kids are gone and you haven't called Daryl Baskin to sell your house yet.
Take a tour of your own house about once every couple of months.
Go upstairs, check the closets, see what's happening there, because that's where some of these problems become kind of bad. And right now I only have a small cosmetic issue. I can like kills over that and paint it. If it goes any longer and leaks more, then it's going to start to sag. It's never going to be the same. There's going to be damage to the finish itself. But right now, it was just that first storm that did it.
It just gets worse.
So that's one issue. But that's not why you even came on the show. I just had to tell that.
It is, and I expedited back from Edmond this morning to make this appearance with you, and I think it's a great topic. It's something that we need to talk about.
Well, you're saying that you get this call, or actually, your crew was working on a roof.
My crew was actually working in a home next door to the situation. A lady came over and asked if they could come take a look at the water in the floor, and my crew noticed the natural gas smell. So after a little research and opening some windows and getting everyone out of the home, they saw some smoke above the casing where the hot water tank is. So they opened the hot water closet, and the hot water tank had actually caught on fire.
You had a picture of this. Now, we're not talking about, I've seen the aftermath of a hot water tank. Now, they're supposed to be 18 inches off the ground so that dangerous fumes aren't the level of the ignition.
And that's true with the older ones. The newer ones don't have to be that. The sealed burn chambers don't have to be raised off the floor that high. But regardless, it can be a dangerous situation.
And thank you for pointing that out. The issue, though, wasn't that there was an explosion. This was the hot water tank itself just catching on fire.
It just caught on fire, and it looks like a fairly new hot water tank. It doesn't look old. Fortunately for the homeowner, the water actually started to burst, I guess, and it extinguished the fire. But the unsafe side is it actually burnt the control that stops the gas flow. So the entire home smelled of natural gas.
Now, the control you're talking about is when it's not lit, it won't provide more gas. Is
Absolutely.
That?
It has a sensor, and when it does not sense a flame, when there's no flame present, it will stop the gas flow to the tank.
That
so it's
really
a safety
could have been
measure.
a dangerous situation.
It could have been very dangerous. If that had happened in the middle of the night, obviously natural gas will suffocate you, and if you're asleep, you'll never know. So it could have been very dangerous. Fortunately, it wasn't, but could have been very dangerous.
But this brings us, that's just a story. This is what leads up to it. But this brings us to something else that I think is so important for people to understand when it comes to choosing your contractor. So you're my contractor. You come out and take care of stuff. I know who you are. I trust you, etc. But this person called their insurance company to file a claim.
Absolutely.
And then tell the rest of the story.
Well, they called their insurance company. I had guys actually already mobilized. We are available 24/7, so we were already in motion to move people that direction. And then she stopped all the cavalry. She said her insurance company had told her to call one of their preferred vendors.
And sometimes that is phrased in a way where you feel like you have to.
They phrased it in that manner, and they do that very often. And fortunately for all of us as contractors that are very loyal and good at our jobs, it's a state law that the insurance companies cannot direct you to use anyone.
Say that again.
A state law, Oklahoma
state
state law, it will not let insurance companies direct you or force you to use any contractor. You are free to choose and do work with who you trust.
So how often do you see, or what do you see behind the scenes? Now, I ask this with the history that you're out fixing. Now, I'm the realtor, by the way. I'm hiring jobs like this on a regular basis, working with clients to get things done. And sometimes I get a bad job on my own stuff too.
Absolutely,
right?
Yeah, it happens.
When you wake up, life is a risk. When you wake up, there's a risk. When you're buying and selling, there's a risk. When you're getting work done on your property, there's a risk. My job is to limit that risk or to collect as much data as possible to make sure that I'm not increasing, but I'm actually decreasing the amount of risk I've got. I had a roof which, okay, the shingles were great. Lots of stuff was good about it, but there were several things that just weren't great on the installation. You came out and took care of that. But how do we know as much as we can besides just references?
Well, typically when you hear the word preferred vendor from an insurance company, that vendor has negotiated cheaper rates with the insurance company for them to direct work to them. So that doesn't necessarily work in the homeowner's best interest. You want the best person on the job for you, representing you. And unfortunately, that doesn't happen with a preferred vendor all the time. They're looking out for the insurance company's best
But are you
interest.
saving money? I would think, okay, you're saving money, so there's a reason to use a preferred vendor. Explain what's happening.
You're absolutely not saving any money. You are spending the same amount of money. Insurance companies have a software that basically it itemizes the pricing. As long as there's an agreement on scope, the estimates are typically already pre-priced, and we pay a lot of money every year to be able to license that software and use it. So it's predetermined pricing, so you're not saving anything.
So you're using the same type of software that is estimating off of this database.
Yes.
Of
There's a national database. What they do is they poll different vendors, different material sources, different labor sources, and they come up with a per zip code pricing that is pretty much spot on. We can survive in our community with the pricing they have dictated, and therefore it stops the negotiation on the dimes and nickels, and as long as we agree on the scope, the price is set.
Very interesting. So this is how an adjuster would be coming out, looking at a project, and why you as a roofer might go back to that adjuster and say, here's some of the things that you're directly negotiating some of them when you're saying, hey, you missed this, or there's an overage on that. And what I see is it seems to be pretty easy. They kind of shake hands and say, yeah, we got it worked out. And so that's what's happening.
That's exactly what's happening, and that doesn't look out for your best interest. There's certain things that get missed, and again, the contractors typically are on a preferred list because they have negotiated a lower rate. Whenever you negotiate a lower rate, Daryl, you've been in this business a long time. You know labor costs what it costs, material costs what it costs. So if we negotiate lower rates, we have to cut a corner somewhere.
We have to cut a corner somewhere. That's probably the best summary of the whole thing, because the material is at its fixed cost, and the person who shows up 16 years, as you were talking about,
absolutely,
having a similar crew. I've heard that from many other contractors. Just knowing who's there on your job and how they're going to take care of it, and the management of it.
The management of it. Typically, what suffers is the customer service and the relationship with the customer and the contractor whenever you get into the preferred vendors.
Yeah, Mike, good stuff. Our conversation yesterday really shed a lot of light on that, and expose some things that I wasn't aware of. You're listening to The Future of Real Estate, Tulsa's source for local real estate news and information. I'm Daryl Baskin, talking to Mike Goodman of Goodman Construction. Listen, I've got to talk about some other real estate pros. They aren't with eXp Realty. They're not with the Baskin Real Estate Specialists. I want to tell you about this when we come back. Stay tuned.
When quality and value matter most, choose Window World. Superior service, American-made products, and industry-leading warranties make us the #1 choice for your next home remodel. J.D. Power ranked Window World highest in customer satisfaction with window and patio door retailers. Be proud of your home and take care of it with a brand you can trust. Window World, America's exterior remodeler.
66 are the things that are most important on this side.
Diane, show me. Here, this is where Tulsa started, right?
Yeah.
So right here is where Red Fork is, Ollie's. You say oil was struck there, and
well, it's not far from there. I think it's actually wells like right up in here.
This vicinity, and so what caused all of this growth up into Tulsa? I mean, if this was originally Tulsa.
Well, just like I stated, is that this is where all the drilling was going on. This is where all the roughnecks were. It was a very, very rowdy, full steam ahead community in this area. There was a lot of activity going on here. So, like I said, the oil barons, moved across over into here into the 15th Street area to build their homes.
Okay, so
and
this is now
the downtown area.
This is now downtown, and back over here we have the redevelopment of Crystal City. This is Route 66, and what is it called? The Cyrus Avery Bridge.
Cyrus Avery Bridge.
That's the significance of that bridge, and Route 66 is. That was the passageway into what's now our downtown.
Exactly. Well, now this is actually called the Cyrus Avery Plaza.
Plaza, okay.
And then there's the 11th Street Bridge. And they're really, the significance of them is two separate things. The bridge, because it gave them access to the other side of the river to transport things, to transport food, to move to do all the activity to. Otherwise, there was the other location that was down here. So the bridge that was down here, and these two were not here at the time. So this was one of the first ones, and it's very significant because it did give them access to downtown when they began.
And that explains why the west side of the river really was so industrial. This is where our money was.
This is actually where the well is.
Yeah.
So a lot of it's being, drilled here down in Creek County. There's just a ton of oil. In fact, right now, most of the oil in Oklahoma is coming out of Creek County. So it was all down in this area.
Well, Diane, with the new name is Route 66 Main Street.
Yes.
And we'll see signs and a lot of progress, really marking the redevelopment of Tulsa's history right here along Route 66 on the west side.
I think that choosing anything for your home can be intimidating.
When we are faced with a decision of this magnitude, and there are so many options and there are so many choices.
To have someone hold your hand and say, hey, these are some good options, start here, but use it as a springboard. Let it be your inspiration.
We had the privilege of getting together with some other bloggers and people from Window World to work on a design guide that will be coming out in 2017.
Just the variety of options that Window World had available, and the fun of selecting this color and making some bold choices.
We love pops of color, whether it's bringing in those colors on the outside or inside. We just think it's something that a lot of people can use in their life. A lot of people tend to stay towards neutrals because it's easy, but they want the color in their life, they just don't know how to do it.
The bold color choices are kind of really coming into their own. I think we've seen it in exterior with brilliant color choices for doors.
Metallics are a big deal right now, and mixing your metals. Rules no longer apply.
I would encourage people to, look at that trend, but also look at all the other wonderful options Window World has and pick what you really love deep down.
I truly believe that you should just do what you want to do.
If you let your heart do a little bit more of the decorating, then you will truly create a home that you love.
We like to help people make design choices in their home. We build a partner with a brand that kind of has that same philosophy of wanting to make someone feel a little bit better and more comfortable and give them that freedom to make choices.
The choices that we made, I hope that they encourage people. I hope they provide a design framework.
HomeGuideTulsa.com, 7732 South Harvard Place This is located in South Tulsa. Look out your window, second level.
That's that's a nice
you're looking at
elevation
ORU.
area.
Yeah, it is, and it's ready. A great price per square foot here, and it's just been staged. You need to look at. If you think you've looked at this before, you need to look at it now that it's staged. A third, I don't know, let's see, 33,000, 2/3 of an acre lot, right there in the heart of South Tulsa.
Hard to find.
It is. Space between the houses, safe room in the garage. It's a 3-car sized garage with a car door for 2. So you have all this extra work area, safe room, 4,454 square feet, 4 bedrooms, 3 full, 2 half baths, and Jinx School District. Think of it. 7732 South Harvard Place. HomeGuideTulsa.com. I've got 2 others I want to tell you about. 8101 South Wynwood Lane in Broken Arrow. This is a kind of a weekend ranch, 5 acres. The garage is 6 cars wide, and 2 cars. One of the detached garage, which is 3 cars there wide, is 2 cars deep.
That's a lot of space. I don't think
it is
you can
a lot
find
of
that.
space. And in the attached 3-car garage, there's a bay area that's not part of the 3-car garage that has storage and a workshop area. I mean, this is a cool place.
This sounds like an estate for a car collector.
It is a great estate for a car collector, someone who just likes to hunt, for example. You got all your hunting equipment.
Absolutely.
Or maybe someone who races
cars.
I
could fill that garage up very quickly.
There you go. Now we're talking. 8101 South at Wynwood Lane. That doesn't include the barn. The house is great, too. It was a model home for the builder, I believe, when it was originally built, so that tells you something. Built in 2000 in Broken Arrow Schools. And one other one. This is open tomorrow, 2824 North Juniper Avenue in Broken Arrow. It's just a stunning home for the price. You can't beat something like this. 2,653 square feet, and that is by appraisal. 4 bedrooms, 2 baths, 2.5 baths, 3-car garage, built in 2013. Broken Arrow Schools, open tomorrow from 2 to 4, and the address again is 2824 North Juniper Avenue. If you're wondering, that's just on the north side, in the Battle Creek area, on the north side of St. John.
The new hospital,
medical center there. Yeah, so you're
nice
you're
elevated area as well.
Yep, very much, very much. HomeGuideTulsa.com. Well, I have this pet peeve here, and that is real estate agents who don't respond for feedback. When someone shows one of my listings, one of my promises to any of my clients is that I'm going to follow up and get feedback.
Which works for both of you.
Totally. The seller is prepared. They've done all this work. Somebody's shown their house. Well, okay, by default, the lazy answer would be, hey, they didn't write an offer, so they must not be interested. Sure, okay, you can take that if that's as far as you want to go, but have a professional service that I offer, and that is not just getting the feedback, but hearing it and interpreting it. What does it mean? Was there any helpful critique that comes from it that could be expressed to me that I can then pass along to the seller in a way that's constructive, such as the buyer says, hey, the house really stinks, and I can interpret that and say, oh, we need to work on freshening the smell, the aroma. You get my point.
I get your point.
Sometimes people will say, hey, the house is too small.
Daryl, you do a really good job with feedback as well. I was a little hesitant to text you because I thought you might be bothered by me, but you were receptive, very receptive, and you were thankful that I gave you feedback.
But Mike, that's because I deal with feedback all day. I'm the one that gets yelled at if the feedback isn't really positive. But that's my job, not to get yelled at, but to take what the market is saying. And this is what home sellers have to understand. And we spent 15, 20 minutes talking about it frequently when we're putting a house on the market. Listen, my job is not to tell you all these things that you like to hear. My job, because I'm not buying the house, by the way, my job is to help work with what the market is saying about your house to get us in the right price, get us the right condition, and interpreting that feedback is important. So what I say all this is 50% of the real estate agents may show a house and not even get feedback. even when it's requested. And rather than just complain, which I've done enough of already, about agents not responding, I want to give a really big shout out to these agents who, just in the past week or so, based on the most recent report, not only showed one of my listings, which I'm very thankful for. Thank you for bringing your buyer. We're offering to pay you to do that. My seller is offering to pay for you to sell the house. But you've taken your time after the fact, after you got what you needed, to give feedback to my seller. Bonnie Gross with Coldwell Banker Select, Lauren Penrod with eXp Realty, Heather Knotts with Keller Williams Preferred, Nora Gordon, Onyx Realty Group. Everybody knows Nora in Broken Arrow. Jill Taylor with McGraw Realtors, Susan Brooks with Coldwell Banker Select, who's sold one of my properties. Thank you, Susan. And Pamela Wright with eXp Realty. Those agents, listen, those people, if I just call their name, took time out of their day to respond to my request. And it is so refreshing because they're real professionals and they're doing the job that is helping you as a home seller, helping me help you as a home seller do a better job. And if you're a realtor and you're listening to this, and I've shown one of your properties, if you see my card or see me show up, my little serial number show up on your key box report, please ask me for feedback, because one of the most beneficial things I can do for the real estate community, I mean realtors as a whole, is provide that professional courtesy so that you can do a better job for your seller. I consider it my obligation to say thank you to your seller for letting us in, even if I might be the one that says your seller's home did not smell good, or it needs some other repair. The carpet looked really nasty compared to the others. But that's what we do. And that's what your realtor needs to be doing for you if you're selling your house.
And it seems to me like you're helping each other do your job more efficiently and more effectively.
Mike, I'm just homeschool. I'm old school because I've been doing this for 30 years. And the mentors that I had that trained me in the early 90s, they said, Daryl, this is what we do for each other. One of the reasons the real estate community works so well together here is because while we're competitors, and as a home seller, you might think if you're a consumer right now, well, what does this have to do with me? We're competitors. You know, I'm representing a buyer, I'm representing a seller. We're on opposite ends. We're competing for the same business. But in the end, this is why it's so unique in real estate. In the end, we need each other in order to close more of those sales to get us to the closing table. And sure, one person could try to do it all, but then you're missing out on the 3,000 relationships of the other 3,000 real estate agents. And who has time to manage all
There's
that?
A lot
so
of people
we need
in this
each other.
world, you need each other.
So the beauty of MLS and the real estate profession, especially here in Tulsa where it's so cooperative, is not just that you get in the MLS system and that you're listed online, but it's that cooperation and the compensation agreements that brokers have with each other. That's what brings your property to the top and makes it more accessible, easy for buyers to buy, and easier for buyers to schedule appointments to go see. That's why the MLS is so valuable. I'm Daryl Baskin. AskingForBaskin.com. Schedule a phone call. No cost or obligation. Happy to talk to you, see if we can help you further. See you next week here on The Future of Real Estate. All right, let's wait until we get that.